Dead or Alive. Hollywood will remake every popular 1980s movie, and Robocop's the latest proof. I don't need this any longer. Robocop is the latest remake from Hollywood, and if you don't know what a remake is, let me explain it to you. Now, typically, a Hollywood movie remake is a rape of your childhood. So with all of that behind us now, let's talk about Robocop. I first want to say I'm a huge fan of the 1987 original Robocop movie starring Peter Weller as Alex Murphy. When man met machine, it was the year where I was born and it was just meant to be. So what is the plot to Robocop? Well, the title of the movie is called Robocop. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. One day a good-hearted cop gets into an accident. By accident, I mean someone tries to blow him up in his vehicle. The only way they can bring him back is to put him in this mechanical suit where he's part man, part machine, but he's all cop. Now going into this new Robocop movie, I wasn't expecting much at all. You know, some of the set photos look like a man in a rubber Batman concept suit. It just didn't look right. It looked... to be honest with you, I thought it looked awful. But as I was sitting there in the theater watching this, by the way, I watched it in IMAX. I was sitting there as the movie progressed on and on. I was like, I kind of like this movie. I was like, oh, that's cool. That's neat. I kind of enjoy this. There's a little bit of character development. And let me briefly explain some of the differences between the original and the remake. The original Robocop movie is directed by Paul Verhoeven. That man was responsible for some of the best rated R action movies that also implemented a lot of cheesy stuff. And they went over the top, but they were a lot of fun to watch. And they just had that level of grittiness about them that you really wanted to see in a rated R action movie. And they also had stuff like this. Damn, I love blood squibs. We don't see them enough nowadays. There's just something about practical effects that just add to a movie. But this new Robocop movie is very tonally different from the original one, but at times it pays tribute to the original one. It gives viewers and fans of the original one nice little things to laugh at, little tidbits here and there, and there's also some really cool elements that they kind of utilize from the original one. For instance, one thing I noticed was some of the camera work very handheld, but not shaky cam, just handheld. And there were shots where the camera would follow Robocop like through a hallway, kind of like the original movie did, and I like to see things like that. But I will say, on a positive note, this remake added and kind of developed a lot of ideas the original movie sort of had. The character of Alex Murphy in the original Robocop movie, for the most part, felt kind of like a robot with a man's face on it. You know, it didn't seem like there was a lot of personality. He was more machine than he was man, even though by the end of the movie you could kind of debate, yeah, he was, but it still felt very mechanical and a little too much machine. But in this new Robocop movie, it feels like there's more of a man in that mechanical apparatus. Even though this man's blown to hell, it still feels like there's more personality with Alex Murphy this time around as Robocop, and that's something I always felt was missing from the original one. Still buy him as a robot, but you also still buy him as a human being, and I think that's the blend that you have to get right. You gotta have a connection with your viewers, and you gotta get the audience to feel this guy's emotion, and I think that's what that did with this new movie. In the new Robocop movie, it feels more like a man, even though there's one really great scene in this movie, and if you guys have seen the original, it's the scene where he kind of sees himself for the first time after the accident, and he's, you know, kind of the machine, and this scene in this movie I thought was very well done. I mean, it was probably one of the best scenes in the movie, and visually it looked amazing. It's kind of like, it makes your jaw drop just a little bit looking at it, but at the same time, it's one of those necessary things to kind of show you how brutal and how bad his accident was and what he's kind of going through. So that scene in this movie, I gotta say, they covered it very well. Now this time around, Robocop, aka Alex Murphy, is played by Joel Kinnaman, and at first, when I first seen this guy on the screen in this movie, I was like, that guy almost seems more like a robot than Robocop does, even before he gets blown to hell. But I gotta say, as the movie progressed on and he kind of got into the role, I started to buy his character, and he did a pretty good job at Robocop. You know, some of the mannerisms, moving around like a robot, kicking ass. By the end of the movie, I was like, yeah, that was a pretty solid choice for the role. The movie has the original 1989 Batman, Michael Keaton, one of my kind of favorites from the 80s, Mr. Mom, Beetlejuice, Batman, there you go, what more do you want? And he plays Raymond Sellers, the corporate main bad guy of the movie. So yeah, Michael Keaton, it was nice to see him return to the big screen, but, you know, his villainous role was okay. It was sufficient. It got the job done. I don't think it's anything memorable, but it was okay. Just thinking about it makes me laugh. One of my favorite parts in this movie is when you get to see the scenes with Samuel L. Jackson in the movie, who plays Novak. And Novak is pretty much this Fox News type reporter, propaganda type guy who pretty much just agrees with the establishment no matter what. Like he's almost brainwashed. He feels like a reporter who's paid off to say whatever the corporations want him to say, basically pretty much like Fox News. And at multiple times throughout this movie, they keep cutting to him on his TV show. It's almost like he filmed all of his scenes in one day and they just kind of sparsed them out throughout the movie. But as usual, Samuel L. Jackson steals every scene he's in. He's hilarious, and the last scene that you see him in the movie, yeah, I cracked up for a good 10 minutes. It's pretty awesome. So my final flick thoughts on the Robocop remake? Well, I sort of enjoyed the Robocop remake, and I know, I didn't think I was going to say that either. You know, there's elements about this movie that they expand on and improve upon compared to the original movie, such as like his relationship with his family, you know, the character of actually Robocop and the man inside the mechanical suit. There's also some jokes about Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz, which I give that 2 thumbs up. And I think when it comes down to it, the movie lives up to the title, Robocop. Did you get that? Did you get to see this badass robotic man in a suit being a police officer, kicking ass? There was character development, there was a story there. It changed things from the original, paid tribute to things that it should have. So overall, I'm gonna have to give Robocop a B-. I know I didn't think I was going to give it that high of a score either, but overall the movie was a solid action movie. It was fun to watch. It was enjoyable. Some negative things I can say about the movie. Sometimes throughout the movie it gets a little bit sluggish, a little bit standstill. It could progress a little bit quicker than it does. There's also some one-dimensional characters in the movie that I thought could have been improved upon, and there was also little storytelling elements about the movie that you're just like, I don't really care about that, but you're still going to talk about it for 10 minutes. And by the way, this is my new Back to the Flick Pick t-shirt. I like it. It makes me feel tougher than I really am. If you want a closer look at that, link down below. Or if you'd like a free one from redbubble.com, a free $25 gift card so you can buy anything you want from the site, make sure you join me on Twitter and Facebook. Links down below also. I will be doing a live giveaway on my second channel, John Flickster. So yeah, definitely join me on Facebook and Twitter. That way I can announce when it's going to go down. So that's my review for Robocop. Let me know what your thoughts are on the movie down below. And if you haven't seen the movie yet, let me know what your favorite robot movie of all time is. Let me know down below in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.